Do you think we'll ever get to a stage where our buildings will be viewed as a toxic asset? So the reason that they will be a toxic asset will because their green credentials either not as they were advertised or that they're completely non-existent. And so the value of that building is just going to be next to nothing.
I think we're already getting there. I think definitely in the office and retail sector. I think offices now, and I don't know the exact around this, but there's clear guidelines when they need to hit particular EPCs, or you won't, as a landlord, be able to rent those to tenants. And I think it's interesting. I had Stam Stacey. I was talking to him last week, and he's developed a new company called Sustain CRE that's looking at going in and creating those audits and then those clear pathways to bringing your offices up to those standards. And I think the gap that he talks about is not the sort of the large office, so over the 10,000. It's probably the 4,000 to 10,000 square meters where you've got probably long-term sitting tenants and the landlords have just got away with it. But, you know, the flip side of that is the bigger issue is in our housing. So 14% of our social housing doesn't meet the housing standards. And that's the biggest thing. And I think that's why retrofit at the moment is so important. You know, we talk about inequality. We should all have a comfortable, warm, energy efficient home, and I think that's our biggest challenge.
Whose responsibility is that?
Local government, absolutely. On the social housing side, we have social landlords, that needs to be brought up, and that's the problem, is it's not happening. So what you're seeing is a lot of community and neighbourhood led regeneration, when that's basically community saying enough's enough, we will do this work ourselves. Now the challenge there is that you've got to balance the sort of the DIY skills and whether it's being done to the right quality versus the professionals. If you ask any homeowner, would they want a very well insulated, energy efficient home made with natural building products, or would you like an extra bedroom and nearer to the train station? They're going to choose the extra bedroom and nearer to the train station and probably deal with living in a drafty home. We as a UK also seem to like, we call our drafty Victorian homes sort of quirky or have natural features.
Character.
Exactly. Rather than, and you hear it all the time, I don't want to live on a barracks estate, but they're probably all very well insulated and very high functioning homes. So where I think we are seeing the change though is probably in the office sector, because we all value different things when we go to work. So if we go to work, we want to have those nice community areas. We want to have the breakout spaces. We want to have good air quality. We want to have, filtered water. And I think that's the difference. If you look at things like the Well Building Standard, which focuses predominantly on the sort of the office sector, and you said before, when do these depreciating assets, or toxic assets come in? Well, I think people know that to attract talent now, you need well-performing office buildings, and I think that's where the change is. And you're probably right, that's where we probably now need to take that shift into our homes and probably start paying a green premium, but unfortunately we don't value it in that way.
There's something around the ability to help people to understand, look, my life has got so much more value under these conditions than what it does in those conditions, and that needs to be an emotional decision, not a logical one. So I need another bedroom is an emotional decision, not a logical one.
Yeah.
Asking someone, do you want a logical decision? Most people will say no, because most purchases are made from an emotional point of view, not from a logical point of view. And so how can the narrative or the story become more emotional? That's a different type of emotion to the story that's being told at the moment, but that one that kind of deeply resonates with people, and they're like, okay, I want to change my behaviour. Not that someone's forcing me to change my behaviour, but I want to change my behaviour. The
challenge is that we've got deep inequality in the UK. And that's the problem, is that we've got extreme poverty where just having a roof over your home is a challenge. We've seen, if you live in London, rocketing sky rents, but also it's not profitable being a landlord anymore. So you've got people, trying to shift there. So a lot of homes are exiting the private rental market. On the social, housing side, we're not building enough. We're not building, them to be energy efficient. There's massive refit programs that need to go through. So that's the problem, is that there's almost such a wide gulf. When we're talking about extra bedrooms, some people haven't even got a bedroom for their kids, and I think that's our challenge. Is that we need to get housing right. Everyone should have a warm, energy efficient home, because it will reduce our energy usage. You hear the horror stories, don't you, of people not being able to put their heating on for the whole of the winter. That shouldn't be a case, because we have the skills, we have the innovations to be able to do, to build those homes.
What was it that got you into Future Build? Future Build, just talk a little bit about it. There's a number of people that listen to this podcast that would not have heard of Future Build. So if you can just talk to that, and then how you got into Future Build?
Absolutely, yeah. So most people will probably know the show as EcoBuild, and it actually started in 2005. And I wasn't involved in it, by the way, until probably 2015. So I've been on it about 9 or 10 years. But back in 2005, it was directly launched because there was not enough talk around sustainability in the built environment. And believe it or not, we're still having the same conversations now, 20 years on. So the show rapidly grew. We're extremely passionate about all things sustainability within the built environment, so whether that's low carbon materials, whether that's development of renewables. Now we're doing a lot around, the digital disruption, on the positives around that. I actually was just in ad sales, and I was at a company called UBM, and they published Building Magazine, that's still going, and the Reba Journal, and we're selling classified advertising. And just became quite good at it and progressed within my career. And then UBM quite famously bought EcoBuild. It was £52 million they paid for it back in 2012, 2013. And it was exact at the time when the government started to pull all its green initiatives. So the show actually, unfortunately, went into rapid decline. It had a lot of solar exhibitors that went out of business or didn't focus on the UK market. Likewise, a lot of people changed their marketing, so they were moving away from all of the zero carbon homes initiatives and things like that. So I became the event director in 2015 and actually did a management buyout and owned it in 2017. So we ran it as an independent company until 2019. And then we partnered with Easy Fairs, who own it now, and I'm still on board as the event director. So my role is sort of coming up every year with the concept and keeping it fresh and keeping it very true to its mission and values. And I think that's something we're really passionate about.
What is it you're trying to achieve?
Very similar to, probably your podcast. It's about showcasing how amazing the construction industry is. But we fundamentally believe that we make a positive impact on the built environment. And we do that by bringing together the specifiers. So unfortunately, we're not a trade show. We don't have the trade there. We're very, very focused on the specifier community. So that's everyone from architects, contractors, tier one contractors, house builders, the engineers, the QSs, that side of things, and connecting them with the supply chain. And we're, as we sort of talked before, passionate about sustainability, but also innovation. And it's showcasing the amazing innovations that can make a real tangible difference to the built environment and hitting those net zero goals and targets.
And the future?
Is in the future for Future Build. Yeah, it's a really interesting show because it flexes every year. And I think it's a great barometer of where the industry's going. So, if we went back 4 or 5 years, we would have had a huge amount of off-site manufacturing companies or the supply chain that supplied the off-site industry. I think, it's been well documented what's happened in the off-site industry, so we don't have much of that at the moment. But we're seeing a resurgence actually now in low-carbon materials. So before we came on, we were talking a lot about low-carbon concrete, but also a lot with natural building products. A lot of hemp at the moment, and hempcrete and hemp insulation. I think the sort of SIP panels making a resurgence, so a lot of the timber side of things. And then we've got a whole part of the show now dedicated to retrofit, because again, that's a massive focus for the industry to get right. And so we need to bring people together on that. So every year we sort of change the show, and sort of the floor plan and the footprint changes as well as there's different focus areas.